Good morning, day, evening, or night. I am None of Information Highwayman, and you are watching the Ace of Spades Friday website review. And today we're looking at www.snapswall.com, kindly nominated by James. And the issue for today is how being desirable takes more than just the sum of desirable parts. I will explain more in just a moment. Let's have a look at the site itself. Okay. On our food checklist, first impressions, professional design, high quality photo stands out here nicely, looks pretty good, no one can complain about that. It has a good look and feel because of that photo, and it's obviously been professionally designed. It's not some kind of dinky site. It's selling a product, and the product looks pretty good in the photo, so that's a good start. The only thing that I would say is that you've got this kind of slightly crushed feeling because everything is contained inside this left-hand box or squished onto the left margin. I would say bring that out a little bit like so. Have it sitting in a center column like that would look a lot better. Okay. I'm going to blast through these because what we're actually getting to is desirability at the end. So orientation is the first O. Orientation elements are certainly there, but the position and contrast of the primary call to action, which is this thingy here, makes them hard to see, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later. The headline doesn't stand out. More on that later. The CTA is visually primary. CTA is a call to action. So it's short-circuiting the natural process of the reader's eye path, and more on that later. Objectives. Well, we've talked about the CTA already. That's pretty clear. So the primary objective is pretty dominant on the page, and you can't really complain about that, normally speaking. It's by no means invisible like a lot of objectives on a page are, and it's obviously a good objective in that it's the sort of thing that you actually want people to do on your page, unlike most of the things that you often see, which, well, anyway. Okay, let's talk about desirability. At first glance, everything actually seems really good. This website contains pretty much all the elements of a strongly desirable product or website or objectives, however you want to look at it. Everything is desirable. Users should be clicking left, right, and center and buying this product in droves, provided you're getting enough traffic. However, wait. Let me talk about the desirability elements a little bit more, actually. What is so desirable about this website? You might not have picked it. Okay, first of all, I've talked about the headline here. Now you might be thinking, that's kind of actually a silly headline introducing the snapshot photo display system. It sounds, I don't know, kind of cliche almost. But you would be wrong. It is not a cliche. It is a proven formula. It can still be improved, I think. I would be talking about a benefit rather than just the feature of the photo display system. I'd say something like, as a subhead, a new way to share and enjoy your memories. That might work well. You would want to test it, but generally speaking, adding something like that is always a good idea, and especially if you're talking about new on top of introducing, that gets a lot of readership. People are interested in news, so that's a good headline. Well done. You've got a great photo with cute subjects. If you can't have sexy women or adorable puppies, it's always good to settle for kids, because people are interested in those things. Having said that, I would actually suggest that you find a photo layout which has a number of adorable puppies or kittens, and then a couple of people, when I say people, I do mean kids, because kids are the best, they're so cute. Have them sitting in the center or on the side or whatever, just to draw the reader's attention, because people are interested in people, but when you've got too many of them, it dilutes the focus of your photograph and it makes it less interesting. Now, I would also strongly recommend, at the moment you've got about kind of two different eye paths, or two different eye directions going on here. You've got this fellow here, he's looking directly at the camera, as is this guy here. And these guys are looking down here, which is at news. Now, people always look where other people are looking in photographs. If you see a heat map of a photograph where someone is looking towards the copy or away from the copy, the photograph looking towards the copy, you'll see the heat map. The copy itself gets read buttloads more. Strange but true. So if you were to redo this photograph, not only would I suggest having a focus on a couple of kids and the rest of the things be things that we're less interested in but still find interesting, like animals, I would also suggest having the kids actually looking directly at what you want what you want the reader to read, which is, generally speaking, the copy itself, specifically the headline. Okay. The copy itself is pretty good. I won't go into too much detail on it, but it is actually not bad. It could be improved. Needs a little bit of focus, but it's certainly not terrible. It's a heck of a lot better than the average copy on an average website. The problem is, it all comes unstuck with the call to action. Now, you're thinking calls to action are good, and they are. But the problem here is that the call to action is so visually dominant because of the contrast with the orange, and the rest of the site is essentially grey or white. This orange CTA stands out so strongly that it's short-circuiting the reader's natural eye path. Normally, what you want them to do is go from the picture, which is the first thing they'll see, to the headline, which tells them about the picture and the benefits of it, and gets them into the copy, which in turn tells them more and incites them to click on the call to action. What you're doing here, essentially, is you're getting them to click on the call to action first, and without giving them enough information to do that, they ain't gonna do it. They almost ignore. I mean, when I first came to the site, the first thing I saw was the picture, and I thought, cool, it's a nice picture, this is a nice looking product, and then I saw buy Snapswall, and it said free your photos, blah blah blah, and I didn't even notice the stuff down here. Like, it just didn't even occur to me to look there, because my focus was completely up here. Everything was centered in this box, because it's so strong. So I'd really suggest that what you want to do is you want to move the call to action down where it belongs, which is here. At the moment you've got a contact Snapswall, but what's the point of that? Why, when you could have them actually buying it? One other thing with regard to the call to action. At the moment, two other things. At the moment you've got buy Snapswall as your actual button text. Now, you will find almost certainly that if you change that to add to cart, or add Snapswall to cart, or your cart, something like that, along the lines of add to cart, it will improve your conversion rates. People, for some reason, feel much more comfortable about adding things to carts than buying them, presumably because when you click on a buy button, you're sort of forced into buying, whereas if you add to cart, there's the option to kind of walk around and peruse and do what you want and come back later and actually click on the buy button when you're ready. So it's just an extra layer that gives users a bit of comfort. The other thing is that you want to add a second option, which is for people who aren't quite ready to buy yet but are still interested in the product, and you want to give them some kind of option to view perhaps the gallery. That would be a good one, or just to learn more, that kind of thing. Okay, a couple of other things, and I'll quickly be done. What reason does anyone have to sign up to your newsletter? It's obviously an objective on your site, and it's a good objective to have because it's a lead generation tool. Excellent. But you haven't given them any reason to sign up. What reason would anyone have to enter their email address and their name, give it to someone, and not have a good reason, something back to do? You know, geez. I'm completely confusing myself. What reason would they have to do it without getting something back, is what I'm saying. And finally, is news really important? To anyone but you? I've said before that people are interested in news, and news works well in a headline, but in this particular case here, you've got the sidebar, and I come to your site, I don't know anything about you, I don't have any particular reason to want to know about things that are happening for your company. By all means, have the news up in the menu here, that's fine. But having it in the sidebar, I think, is just distracting. It's going to be fairly pointless. It's not going to achieve anything for you. Okay, so what have we learned? How being desirable takes more than just the sum of desirable parts, plus some extra nice tips for increasing desirability as well. Most important, don't obscure your headline by placing a high contrast element higher up in the reader's natural eye path. Secondly, also make your headline actually strongly visible. This headline hasn't got terribly good contrast to the page because the orange in text is actually not very strong. In a big box it is, but in text it's not. So I'd actually recommend just making it black, or if you have to go with the color, try making it dark blue to match your button there. Demonstrative images are great. This is a really cool demonstrative image right here. Bloop, 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 bloop. But you want to make sure that you get a focus on it by having a closer focus on a single subject. It makes it more interesting. You also want to make sure the subject's looking at the thing that is most important for the reader to read, which is usually the headline. And don't include things like news if your reader doesn't actually care about them. I hope this has been useful to you. If you have any comments, questions, or hate mail, by all means, email me. I've received lots of complimentary comments, no hate mail yet, still hoping. And if you would like to subscribe to the Ace of Spades and you're not already a subscriber, by all means subscribe. It is free. It is a weekly email which goes out to the list, and it's all about marketing and copywriting and design, and it's got all sorts of useful content. I don't do a screencast every day because I am not stupid. I do it every Friday because I like my time. Every other day is just an email, but they're always excellent and they're always free, so go ahead and subscribe now. This is Non out.